Hello, my name's Andrea and I'm 28 years old. I had the crappiest mother and sister growing up, and today I want to tell you about the worst thing that my mother ever did to me. To give you some background, my sister, Callie, had the same boyfriend since she was 14. My sister and I have an 8-year gap between the both of us, so when I first met him, I didn't really have an opinion of him considering I was pretty young. Things started to change, however, when Callie had her first child at 16. My parents weren't happy that she got pregnant, but Callie was adamant about keeping the baby. Callie's boyfriend's parents weren't happy about it, and they kicked him out. So he moved in with us. After that, I began to feel my space begin to cramp up. Our house had way too many people living in it, and my dad was the sole provider for all of us. Neither my sister nor her boyfriend worked, and my mom worked part-time, but all her money went to my sister and her baby. At the ages of 18 and 20, my sister had 2 more kids. Once again, my parents were not happy, but they supported her anyway. I had no say in anything because I was still a child. I practically owned nothing because I was supposed to share my things with everyone. I was also responsible for my nieces and nephews. I was made to babysit for them. I didn't mind too much until one night over dinner, Callie announced that she was pregnant with her 4th child. My mom was happy, my dad just sighed, but I was very concerned. After dinner, I pulled Mom aside and told her about my concerns. Mom, Callie's having her 4th child, and she's only 23. Don't you think that's a bit much? Nonsense. She knows what she's doing. Besides, that's only more to the family. Does Callie really know what she's doing? Neither she nor her boyfriend actually parent their existing children. What are you talking about? You and Dad are the ones that are constantly taking care of the kids. If not you, then I'm the one babysitting. Well, how can we not take care of the kids when their parents are busy? Don't you ever question what Callie and her boyfriend are busy with? It can't work because they never seem to have money. Look, Andrea, none of that matters. They need our help, and we'll give it to them. But there should be a point where we stop, right? Why do you have such an issue with helping your sister out? I don't mind helping her out. I just mind being the one that takes care of her kids, or being in their presence all the time. The kids are loud and I can't focus on my studies. Just buy yourself a pair of noise-canceling headphones. There, problem solved. But I don't want to hear anything more about this. In this family, we help each other out, no matter what. You be nice and help your sister, or so help me God. I was honestly flabbergasted by how nonchalant my mother was about my sister's decisions. She was having kids that she could barely afford. My poor dad and mom were aging rather rapidly from the stress of having to care for more kids than they ever asked for. Eventually, when the house reached maximum capacity with the 4th baby, Callie asked my parents for her college fund. My parents had college funds for both my sister and me. My sister refused to go to college, so my parents gave her college funds to do whatever she wanted with. She, her kids, and her boyfriend finally moved out, but I was still expected to babysit for free. I wouldn't have minded, but the kids were nightmares to deal with. They were very undisciplined and constantly bothered me. I could barely study at home, and on most days I spent all my time out of the house. I think I was truly done with my situation when just a year later, Callie announced that they would be having another child. I was actually living at my friend's place just to get away from actually being run over by my sister's kids. My only hope was moving away from college. But that was swiftly taken away too when I asked my mom to help with college applications. 2 weeks before I asked Mom to help, Callie revealed that she was having her 6th and final kid. I barely paid attention to her because I was honestly just preparing to leave and move away from her. Nothing I said or did because Dad was too busy with work for me to even get a hold of him. Mom was happy that she had so many grandkids. I wanted out, and I wanted it as fast as possible. Mom, I'll be graduating high school in a few months and college applications have opened. Don't you think we should start looking into it? Yeah, you can go ahead. Well, I have looked into some and I wanted to discuss the finance part of it before applying. Why do we need to discuss it? Just take out a student loan. A student loan? Didn't you and Dad have a college fund for me? Oh, honey, did I not tell you? Tell me what? I've given your college fund to Callie. What? Oh, come on, Andrea. She just had another child, and you know how she's struggling. She had a sixth child, Mom. She can barely afford one. She used her college fund to take care of her family. Why did you give away what was mine? Well, I withdrew it all before you turned 18, so none of it was legally yours. Why are you enabling Carrie's crappy choices? Andrea, you will not speak about your sister in that way. Your sister needs it way more than you do. So my sister's poor choices are more important than my education? Are you seriously asking me that question? We're family, and if we don't help each other out, who will? Helping Callie would mean telling her to stop having more kids, not stealing from your other daughter and ruining her life in the process. Don't be so dramatic, Andrea. Your sister needed it way more than you do. You can always earn your own money and pay off college. So you'd rather me be stuck in debt too? Do you even know how long it takes to clear out student loans? I'm sure you'll be able to manage it. And if I can't, will you help me? I can answer that for you. You won't, because you'll be too busy looking after Callie and innumerable kids. How can you be so greedy? Is money all you care about? You know what? It's pointless to have this conversation with you. I was fuming. I couldn't believe that my mom would do something as disgusting as that. I had been counting on that to get away from home, to start a new life. I was more upset than ever that once again, Callie got everything that I was supposed to get. Ever since her first child, Callie became the center of attention. She practically became the golden child in my mom's eyes, and that only solidified with every child she had. I laid in bed and cried for nights after Mom told me that. I refused to look at Mom for the next 2 weeks and didn't utter a single word to her. Mom told Callie about it, and Callie took it upon herself to come over and talk to me about it. Seeing her only fanned the flames of anger in me, but before I could even shut the door in her face, she began yelling at me. Are you seriously not going to talk to Mom after everything she's done for you? She hasn't done anything for me, Callie. How can you say that? She's clothed you, fed you, and put a roof over your head. That's the basic thing every parent must do for their child. That's not a privilege. Something you should be well aware of. Oh, wait. You think it's a luxury because you keep having kids that you can't seem to afford. Look, you can be mad at me all you want, but don't take it out on Mom. How can I not? She doesn't see why supporting you using my money is a bad thing. She told me to earn my own money. College is not cheap in any way. She's not wrong. No matter how expensive it is, you can always earn the money you need and you'll get by. You can take that advice as well. Neither you nor your sorry excuse of a husband are working. One of you could take care of the kids and the other could work. At least that way I could have a portion of my money back. You have no idea what we're going through. You think it's that easy? Actually, I do have an idea of what things are like. In fact, I have more of an idea than you think. I've been babysitting for you for years, and I haven't charged you a cent. I know about all of your troubles, which are nothing but pathetic excuses to mooch off of Mom and Dad. You take that back. You're my sister, my family. I can tell you now that if the roles were reversed, I would never have treated you in this manner. You wouldn't have to treat me this way because I would never have kids that I couldn't afford. And I would never, ever take money that was meant to secure your future. Mom was right. You are only obsessed with money and you have no care for family. I know for sure that my kids are never going to meet their aunt from now on. I don't want your crappy values imprinting on them. Oh no, no more free babysitting for you. I would never get to see your kids grow up into self-sustaining adults. Gosh darn it. Grow up, Andrea. I don't have the money to do that at the moment because you took it from me. Ugh. Callie left me there because she was way too frustrated that I wasn't giving in to her. I couldn't believe that she genuinely thought that she and Mom were in the right. It hurt even more to see that Mom wouldn't come to talk to me about it. Instead, she sent Callie to come talk to me. Why couldn't she ask me to speak to her? My anger only grew with every day that passed. I only ever went out of my room to go to school and to work. As soon as I got back, I would lock myself in my room. I didn't even eat any of the food that was made. I opted to eat food that I cooked for myself. I wanted nothing to do with any of them, and I kept counting down the days till I turned 18, so I could walk out of that house without having to face any legal issues. Neither Mom nor Callie made any effort to check in on me. They kept their mouths shut and let me. I expected things to be that way, but one day Dad knocked on my door and asked if he could speak with me. Hi, sweetie, can we talk? If you're going to berate me for not talking to Mom, I don't want to talk. No, I just wanted to ask you how you're holding up. I've been trying to not think about things. I don't know what to do from here on. Why are you and Mom using my funds to help Callie and Dad? Honey, I'm so sorry about all this. I didn't know about what your mom did until she had already given the money to Callie. She went behind your back? How did you feel about it? Are you going to do something about it? Well, I was really angry with your mom. I hated that she did that to you. I've kept my mouth shut about every decision she's made with Callie because I also wanted to support Callie. I mean, she's also my daughter, and the last thing I want is for her to suffer. But I drew the line at your mother taking what was yours to support Callie. Thank you. I felt like I was losing my mind the way everyone was telling me I was wrong for how I felt. You're absolutely right, honey. Your mom and I have been fighting non-stop since I found out. I've given her a deadline for when she has to make her mind up about a condition I gave to her. A condition? What is it? I told her that she had to find a way to pay for your college, if not entirely, at least half of it by the time you graduate, or I'll be leaving her. You'll leave her? I don't think I could ever be with someone so selfish and blind to her actions. I want you to know that even if your mom doesn't come through, I will help you out to the best of my ability. Dad, that means so much to me, but I don't want to be the reason your relationship with Mom ends. Sweetie, you're not the reason at all. I've been silently watching for years how your mom practically used all the things that were meant to be yours for your sister and her ever-growing family. Every time I tried to intervene, your mom would involve Callie, and I wouldn't have the heart to yell at her in her face. Oh, I get that. Mom loves to use Callie to do her dirty work. Of course, Callie doesn't mind doing it because she's still benefiting from it. Yeah. I won't take anything from your mom when I leave her. I'll start afresh, someplace else. Thankfully, I have some savings of my own, and once I'm settled in, I'll help you out in every way I can. Do you think you'll be able to hold yourself together until then? Of course, Dad. Thank you so much for having my back. I was relieved to have at least one person in my family validate my feelings. My dad and I weren't that close, considering how he was constantly working to support my family along with my sister. It was really nice to have him have my back. I refused to speak to anyone in my family except for my dad, and as soon as I turned 18, I left the house. My dad and Mom did end up getting a divorce. Mom dragged out the divorce because she wanted the house, which put a huge financial strain on my dad. Finally, they agreed out of court that she could have the house as long as she didn't expect him to pay her any alimony. She agreed, and my dad moved out. All of that happened around the same time that I was planning to move out. So when my dad moved away and found another job, he was still recuperating from the financial strain of the divorce. I couldn't apply to any colleges because I didn't have any means of paying back my student loans. I had no friends to house me, and my dad moved to another state to work there. I had no way of getting to him either. I was living out of my car for a good few months before Dad finally had the means to bring me over to his apartment. I can't even tell you how relieved I was to finally have a roof over my head. My dad and I cried for a good while once I got there. After I settled in with Dad, I applied for colleges and managed to take out a student loan. Thankfully, I got a scholarship that took care of 50% of my tuition. I still had a good amount of student loans to pay off, but I picked up 2 jobs to do that and contribute towards Dad and I's living. Those were some really hard years for me. I remember there were nights when I considered just giving everything up. I saw Dad struggling too, and I wanted so much more for him. But I knew that wallowing in self-pity was going to get me nowhere. So I worked as hard as I could and prayed that it would pay off. And it did. After I graduated college, I got a really good job that paid me pretty well. That took a lot of stress off of Dad and I's shoulders. Around a year after graduation, I met my now fiancé, and things only got better from there. I pursued my master's degree, and once I got my degree, I was able to move to an even better job. I moved out from Dad's place after I got a huge promotion at work, and I was even able to send Dad some money every month. It had been about 10 years since I moved out from Mom's, and I hadn't heard a word from either her or Callie. Of course, I was curious to know what had happened to them, but never curious enough to actually reach out. But I didn't have to do that because one day my mom showed up at my door out of the blue. "Oh, hey, Mom, what are you doing here?" "Hi, sweetie, how are you?" "I'm good. How did you find me?" "Well, I asked some family members about where you lived, and I came over." "Okay, well, I don't want to talk to you." "Okay, well, I don't want to talk to you." "Are you still upset about what happened all those years ago?" "Am I still upset about you stealing my college fund to give it to my sister because she chose to have another kid when she already had too many to take care of, leaving me to struggle for the next few years?" "Yes, Mom, I am upset." "But look at how well you're living now. You live in a house and you're married." "That does not take away any of the pain that I had to go through to get here. I don't want to see you right now. So if you could just tell me what you want and get out, that would be great." "There's no need to be so rude to your mother, Andrea. I came here because I need some help." "Help? For what?" "Let me just start this off by saying that you were right. I should not have enabled Callie and her choices." "Uh-huh. What do you want?" "I never realized just how much I was giving Callie until I recently looked into my accounts and saw that I had almost nothing left." "You're still supporting Callie? What happened to her finding a job? Does her husband still not work?" "Well, they moved in with me a few years ago, and somehow they kept convincing me that they were going to get a job. They never did, and I ended up being the one that paid for everything and everyone." "I told you years and years ago that they will become leeches. You never listened to me, and this is something you have to deal with." "Andrea, I just need some help, please. I would really appreciate it if you could support me financially." "I'm really not going to be able to do that." "Why? I'm your mother. You should help me out. I even admitted that I should have listened to you." You think that's a valid enough reason to help you out? I was your barely legal daughter who still depended on you to take care of her. You left me to myself because you favored your other daughter over me. I was only doing what was right. I couldn't let Callie and the kids starve on the streets. And you did it at my expense. You don't even know about half the struggles I had to endure. So you want me to go through the same struggles you did? No, I want you to earn your own money yourself. If you thought I could do it when I was barely a legal adult, as a full-grown adult, you most definitely can. You are a spoiled and ungrateful brat. I said nothing to you when you tore apart my marriage, but if I could go back in time, I'd have said some choice words to you. You can say them to me right now, but it wouldn't affect me at all. Unlike you, Dad has been the only one who actually cared for me. I don't want to hear from or see you ever again. Good luck and goodbye. I cannot even begin to express just how much joy it brought me to do and say all of that to Mom. She made our family's life hell and refused to ever see it. All for her golden child who could do no wrong in her eyes. I don't know how she possibly thought that I would help her out when she almost robbed me of my ability to be where I am today. Mom kept trying to contact me even after that, but I blocked her number and all her socials in case she tried to contact me through there. When I told my dad about what had happened, he laughed. He told me that he was proud of me for standing my ground, and I couldn't agree more with him. I heard nothing from my mom for months until I was reached out to by my aunt and uncle, my mom's siblings. They told me that she had been taking turns staying with them because she had absolutely no money to her name. She had apparently sold her house to fund my sister and deadbeat husband. I don't know what happened to my sister because, as it turns out, the second Callie realized that Mom had nothing more to give her, she left and never tried to reach out again. My aunt and uncle tried to appeal to me to help my mom, but my mom was completely physically fine. She was more than capable of working. I told them that at best I would help her find a job, and that was it. I did not want to help her out when she threw me under the bus without any hesitation. Thankfully, my aunt and uncle respected my boundaries. They relayed my message to Mom, and she was adamant about not working. I knew then that she was going to become just like my sister, so even if I considered helping her for a second, it was all gone. She was just looking for someone to leech off of. I stopped keeping tabs on her after that. I'm living happily and well right now, and that's all that matters to me. I have my dad and my fiancé by my side, and that's all the family I need. Thank you all for listening to my story.